Welcome back to The Fish here on OOTP 26. As you can see, we are creeping up towards that ever so important trade deadline here, sitting at 61 and 39 on the season. You can see here we just swept the St. Louis Cardinals coming out of the All-Star break. Right before the All-Star game, we swept the Chicago White Sox. Unfortunately, we then got swept before that by the Yankees at Yankee Stadium, but we beat Boston before that in that series. Unfortunately, did not sweep them. Had a 4-game drop here, then we sweep. So right back on track here. About to take on the Seattle Mariners as we are looking towards this trade deadline on the 31st. And obviously, we're going to be trying to do something here because, we are on pace. As long as we just keep this pace to get into the playoffs, the offense has been a little bit better. As of recently, you could see we're 5th in WAR, 6th in runs scored. None of these other stats really tell why we're able to score runs. I guess we're 8th in home runs and extra base hits, but it's not anything special. The pitching has been special this year. We are giving up a bit too many home runs, a bit too many walks. That's kind of worrisome, but the rest of this stuff, just elite. Number one in all these categories in defense. And then on offense, all we're doing is limiting strikeouts, stealing a decent amount, and getting good value out of the base running. But we're not getting consistent hits. We're not scoring runs that consistently, although we're tied for 6th. I would just like to get a bat or two to add to the mix. I don't think we're going to be taking any huge swings, but I do think we do want to add a bat or two. And then one thing I think we could possibly look to do is attach Luis Robert onto somebody's deal or onto a trade somehow. Maybe get rid of him, play somebody else in the corner, because he just has not been the guy. He's got a sub 700 OPS this year, below league average bat. I was hoping that we could get something like this from him this year, and he just hasn't done that. Now, he has been very good in the field, I should say that. Even when he spots us some games in center field, he has been good in the outfield. That's fine. That's what we would expect from a guy like this profile, but he has not been good. We're also trying to free up money in the next season, so maybe we already look to trade him. Maybe we don't. I don't know. It would be kind of weird to trade him, but maybe it's a possibility. If we can find a replacement for him, that is, because we don't really have an immediate replacement. I think next year, one thing we want to look to is putting Eshedri Vargas here, possibly in left field next year, because we don't really have a position for him. He's not going to play third base because we have Mauricio and Lara already with a logjam there, and whoever doesn't play third is going to be DHing. And then Vargas is not going to play second base, obviously, because that's where Brooks Lee is. Maybe he could play first, but do we want to waste a glove that could be this good in left field at first base? Probably not. So I'm thinking that maybe next year he ends up in left field for us. Maybe the rest of the season he's our left fielder. But in the future, Vargas, I think we're looking to play him in left. As a matter of fact, we're even going to just lock him into playing left field down in the minors and just get some more experience in that position and see if we can fill up this left field bar. If we ever need him to play left field in the big leagues this year, he can do that. But that is an option for us. Drew Gilbert, I don't think is ever going to be a starter player for us, but he's been really good as a bench player for us this season. So basically, what could we possibly upgrade? It's like, I don't know, maybe it's just because I'm too attached to some of these guys, but I just don't feel like we have that many spots that we could actually upgrade offensively at. We're obviously not going to get a catcher. I guess first base is a possibility. De Los Santos has kind of been struggling recently. You look at his splits here in the major leagues. He was good in April and May, he was okay in June, and he's been really bad in July. So he's been tracking downwards. He's never really going to be that great of a bat, but he does add some pop to the lineup. He's a decent bat. So, if we add somebody, is it De Los Santos' spot at first base that we could add somebody into? It's obviously not going to be Brooks Lee. We like Lara. I guess theoretically we could upgrade here, but what are we going to get that's better than these ratings? I don't think we're going to be doing that. We're obviously not going to get a better shortstop. I mean, this is all defense for him, but still, we're not going to get we're not going to suddenly have a shortstop who's able to hit better and have this sort of glove. So shortstop's not going to be an upgrade. So it's looking like left field is the obvious spot if we could somehow move off Robert's contract and get somebody to play there. Or maybe we just keep playing Robert. Derek Hill has been down to, offensively this season. He's still playing a really good center field. But if we make a change in center, I think it would be more so something to where we try Dylan Head in center field, who has been just tearing up Double-A this season. He wants to play in the major leagues. I think if we go the route of putting someone different in center field, I think it would be the in-organizational move of having him play center field as opposed to going on the trade block and seeing who's out there to give us a spot there. So I don't think center field is going to be a trade possibility for us. Right field is Kyle Tucker. He's been struggling this season, but obviously we're not going to go and bench Kyle Tucker. And then Mauricio, we just recently called up. And I think it's first base, DH, and then if we move off Robert in left field is the option. Because Mauricio, I will say, we've called him back up in July since coming back up to the big leagues. He's been very good. It's a small sample size, but he's trending upwards. He's looking like the Mauricio of last season. Do we want to roll with the guy because we know that he's a dude for us? We know that he's going to be a part of our team next season at $3.2 million probably. He's a captain. We could possibly push maybe him to first base. Can he play first base? Not quite. He cannot play first base right now. So maybe we get a first baseman and push De Los Santos to the bench, and that pushes Eels down to AAA, which I'm fine with, even though he's been a good bench player for us. He could come back up in the expanded rosters at some point, but yeah, I think first base or DH is the spot. All that rambling just to say that I don't think we're going to add anything to the pitching staff this year, unless there's like a veteran reliever we can easily pick up, because I just don't think we need to. We have a very good pitching staff. We have guys in AAA I even trust. So I just don't think we're going to add to the pitching staff unless it's something obvious. I should also just show very quickly the All-Star Game rosters. We had a couple All-Stars this season. Ryan Weathers made the All-Star team. Congrats to him. I believe that's his first. It is indeed the 2027 All-Star team. And then in the bullpen, Max Meyer makes the All-Star team. That is his first as well here in 2027 as a very good reliever for us. Not so great with the WAR. It's very much ERA-based for him. The FIP has not been great, but, gets on the All-Star team because ERA and fan voting is stupid. And then we also had Agustin Ramirez, who made the All-Star team for a third season in a row. 2025, 2026, and 2027. That's 3 straight. He's just tearing the cover off the ball this year, folks. He is already 1 away from his season high of doubles, and he is 2 away from tying his career high of home runs. So, on pace to shatter those this season, has a 907 OPS, and of course this is all coming off the back of me talking about him in the offseason as if we don't want to keep his bat around, because if he ends up moving off catcher, is the bat going to be good enough? And he's like, hey, take a look at this, pal, dummy. And we've talked about that we aren't able to give him extension right now because we don't have the money to. So, in the offseason, that's one of the reasons why we're trying to look to move off some money in the offseason so we can possibly extend somebody like Agustin Ramirez and open up some more money in other positions. Like Derek Hill, I don't think is going to be back next season with how perfectly primed having somebody like Dylan Head and Brendan Summerhill ready to go in center field is looking like in our organization. And then Robert, like I've talked about, because of the Shedry Vargas deal. But Ramirez, we're going to have to figure out because he is so clear in a way our best hitter. So taking a look at who is even available here on the trade block, hitters-wise, it is not much. It doesn't look like. The only 255s here are Brendan Donovan with San Diego, who isn't really what I'm looking for, to be honest. Like, he doesn't have gap power, he doesn't have power. I see that he's hit well in this sim in St. Louis. He got traded in the offseason to the Padres, and he's been not as good this year. He is still good. 3-digit WRC plus. That'd be insane. 4-digit WRC plus. 3-digit. But his home runs are way, way down. It looks like he is starting for them, so like I don't know. He's just not good this year. He's fallen off. He's at 30, and now it's all downhill, folks. And also he's an expiring. Okay, Jurickson Profar could be an option, possibly. We could possibly get him to be our first baseman. That's totally something we could do. The Mariners, though, are they in it? I know last year they did not make the playoffs after winning the World Series, and now they're bottom team in the AL West. So they win the World Series in 2025, and it's just been downhill ever since over there in Seattle. So Jurickson Profar could be an option for us as that first base spot. Ian Happ, expiring contract, not having a good season. Also, he could play as a really good first base, but unfortunately has not played there. We do like his bat. Bat is very intriguing. So I think that's something we could go for. Nolan Arenado, not really something I'm out of, very, very enticed to do. Josh Naylor, another year in his contract, not interested. Ozzy Albies, not interested. Randy Arozarena, currently suspended for 2 games. It is not an expiring contract. Not looking to pick that up. Wilson Contreras with the Tampa Bay Rays, apparently. Because St. Louis, I guess, just gutted their team this offseason, and he has not been... he's been like a solid bat, but his home runs, maybe not. Maybe he was a bench player for the most. I guess maybe they... But also, he's just not something we're looking for. He's not a good first baseman. Or I guess he's okay. But there's better bats we could acquire. And he's also not an expiring our team option, so he is... But still, not what we're looking for. Kyle Isbell, center fielder. No, we're not trying to acquire that. Ha-Seong Kim is a no. Brandon Marsh. Probably a no. Probably. Unless we could possibly make him play left field and then we get somebody like... we get Robert out of there and Marsh plays left field for us the rest of the season, even though he has never been a good bat in this, like in Philly in 2025, and in Tampa in 2026, and in 2027, he's never been a good bat. So that's just something that I'm not really interested in doing then. If he's never proven that he can hit, why is he going to be able to hit here? Nick Matone, the Wolfman, very intriguing defensive versatility, but he's having a really good offensive season. That is a crazy season out of nowhere. Like in 2025, he was pretty good. 2026, he was not good, and now this season he has been just incredible. Nick Matone, slated for a huge pay bump next season, which is not something we're really interested in doing. But yeah, Nick Matone, very interesting. We'll keep his name in the mix. Ryan McMahon, no. Matt Vierling, I'd assume is probably a no. Yeah, definitely a no. Jonathan India. Okay. The profile looks good, but he's not performing this season, and he's never performed in this sim. So, kind of leaning no on that. Max Muncy's playing right field in Seattle. No wonder why they suck. Jesus Christ. He's hitting for him at 36, almost 37 years old. He's also a vesting option. Not trying to do that. So, Jake Rogers, not a bat. Gleyber Torres, no. Yeah. So I think it's Profar, Happ, and Nick Matone are the guys that we prefer. So Profar, Ian Happ, Nick Matone. The 50, you look at this guy's numbers and you're like, how is he hitting so well? Nothing jumps off the page to you about this guy's ratings, but he's just doing it in Chicago this season. So we have Seattle, who we know is bad, and then we have both Chicago teams. The Cubs are pretty much out of it, and the White Sox are also out of it. Yeah, they're both out of it. They're both not teams that are gonna be looking to keep these players. Ian Happ an expiring contract, big time money. So we would have. I like Happ's bat the most. That's obvious. Only 50 BABIP, 50 gap power, 45 power. He's all I and avoid K. Where Ian Happ's got 55 BABIP, 60 power, 60 gap, 50 power, 65 I. The thing about him, though, is we would probably be playing him at first base, which he can play, but for whatever reason in this universe, he's not able to have that on his thing. So he would be learning first base on the fly, which is not ever really what you want, but we might have to do it. Because if we move somebody else to first, it would be like Mauricio, who also would have to learn first base on the fly. But Nick Matone, also a guy who's like, ratings, they look okay, but he would be able to play first base immediately. So let's see what Ian Happ would take. What could we possibly do to get Ian Happ? Already multiple, like we could just give them this guy straight up and they would do Ian Happ. Okay, I mean, I'm not doing that because that feels like ripping you off, but he's totally gettable. Totally gettable. He is having a down season this year too, so we have to keep that into, we have to factor that in. He's been DHing, not hitting well for them, but isn't a bad team. He did hit very, very well in 2025. He was hurt last year. Ratings still look very, very good. So, you know, hopefully we can get like a thing where he takes up with us, returns to this 2025 form on a competing team. And I think I would not be opposed to giving them like a decent prospect. Like Thomas White is, I think his value is kind of down. He's a 40 reliever. What is he? He's one of these guys that ticks up as a starter. He's a 45 potential as a starter. So I could theoretically give them Thomas White, but I feel like that would be ripping them off. De La Cruz might be more so a person that like I could do this straight up for, I feel like. Or maybe I could do something where I give them Thomas White and we give them Teneo for whatever reason they like him. I feel like that's just ripping them off, though. That feels like ripping them off. This guy? Maybe this guy? Who's in rookie ball still? How do we get this guy? Is he a real life prospect? It does not say. Yeah. I guess he's a real life prospect. Yeah, he is. Real life prospect. I mean, looks like he could be decent. So maybe we give them Paulino and we give them Thomas White, and that could be something. Yeah, why not? Let's do that. Thomas White, we'll add that in. But yeah, they should. I agree. That's why we're giving them more. And then was he in the DSL, that Paulino guy? Yes. Jose Paulino. They'll probably laugh in your face. Well, they didn't. They're accepting this. You know, so we're going to give him Thomas White and we're going to give him Jose Paulino. And they're going to give us Ian Happ. I mean, it feels like we're ripping them off. It really does. It feels like we're ripping them off. But at the same time, I also don't want to give up Juan De La Cruz. I think he's an interesting player. I think this guy could be a pitcher for us. Because I feel like De La Cruz should be more than a 45. If you look at his ratings, like this guy could give you starter potential. Like this guy is a guy who could start in the big leagues if he develops all this. But this is only a 45. Thomas White is a 45. Now, if the thing is, Thomas White's a reliever for us because we have too many good pitchers in AAA. If he's a starter, he's a 45. Yeah, we're going to do it. Thomas White and Jose Paulino for an expiring Ian Happ having a down season coming off an injury. I think that's fine. We're doing this. Boom. Ian Happ, we acquired him with the Angels last season. We did that, and he went on to win the World Series with us. I believe he was like a big-time playoff performer in that series, and we are acquiring him again here with the Miami Marlins. Ian Happ, come on down. Thomas White and Jose Paulino to the Chicago Cubs. Bang. We've got ourselves a bat that's going to be learning first base on the fly. So that is what the lineup is going to be looking like post-Ian Happ trade. He's playing first base against righties and lefties. The lineup is the same against righties and lefties. And I think that we're just going to rock and roll with that, honestly. Unless let's just see what Robert could get. Does he have value? Like if we go all players, maybe not prospects. Okay. There are some dudes popping up. Sal Frelick has just never hit for them. Now, this could very well just be something where it's like, I like Sal Frelick. I like Sal Frelick as a player. We all know this. I love the Northeast guys. He's from Massachusetts. He went to Boston College. He's a cold-weather Northeast baseball player. Interesting outlook, too. He's got good BABIP, avoid K, gap power. The eye could develop a bit more. Good speed profile. Really good corner outfielder. But he's just never hit. He's never hit for Milwaukee. He had an okay season defensively in 2025, 2026. Not great. Bad, honestly. And then 2027, he's played himself down to the minor leagues. So we're not trying to pick up him one for one. But maybe it's a two-person deal. He does have another year of team control, Luis Robert. But do we also, like, you look at this bat, and you're like, this bat should be able to play. Like, this bat could just catch fire at any moment, and we go into the playoffs, and all of a sudden Luis Robert's our, like, best hitter or something. So I think we're leaning towards just keeping Luis Robert and getting rid of him in the offseason. I think that is the move for us, because it's not like Vargas has come up and hit for us when we gave him a chance, because he's had a decent run here in the big leagues, hitting, playing every day, and he just has not taken advantage of that yet. So I think next season is really when we're going to lock into a Shedry Vargas as our everyday left fielder and move off Robert, and he'll play the last year of his contract out somewhere else. But for the rest of the season, he's got 130 plate appearances. He hasn't done anything with it. So, I think we want to let him finish at AAA, go down there, win the AAA MVP. We'll have somebody down at AA, winning the AA MVP, and then boom, those guys come into the big leagues. They're part of the big league team. And then next year, we're rocking and rolling with a really young roster. And we already have a really young roster, to be honest. So, yeah, I think we're just going to do that. It's just Ian Happ for Thomas White and Jose Paulino. We can remove him from the prospects list, put him on the former Fish here, same with Paulino. Also, I'm just looking at his face gen here, and it's just, maybe it's just the fact that his name is Ian, and Ian just recently went to a Cubs game where Ian Happ hit a home run, and then the running on base is going, whoop, there it is. But I'm just looking at the face gen going, why does he look like Ian? It's freaking me out. Anyways, he is going to be our first baseman the rest of the season, and hopefully he can figure out the bat, learn first base on the fly, do what Rafi Devers probably should do in real life in that regard. And let's just take a quick look at who's on the block for pitchers. Like, is there a reliever out there we could add to the mix here that we could get quite easily? No, don't click on that. Devin Williams is now a Met, having a down season. Huh. That's interesting. How are the Mets doing? The Mets are bad. The Mets are bad, folks. That is quite interesting. Devin Williams just closed out a World Series for the Brewers last season, and now he's having a down year. Expiring free agent. Devin Williams. What does it take? Okay, it takes something serious here. How about PJ Morlando? Does that wet your whistle? Ooh. Okay, so ooh. I mean, I don't know. I don't think I want to trade Robert for Devin Williams. Yeah, I don't think I want to do that. We do need to put somebody in to make the money work, but the thing is, we don't really have too many people who do make the money work. Derek Hill, maybe? Maybe we go Derek Hill, but I don't want to trade a captain, locker room leader guy in the middle of a playoff run here. So yeah, I don't think Devin Williams is going to be an option for us because we don't have the money to make that $18 million, almost 19, work. Who goes down if we pick up a reliever? If we pick up an arm, who goes down? Funderburk, I guess? I mean, Funderburk is kind of having a rough season here. The K minus walk is going down. The strikeout rate's down. The walk rate's up. The home run rate is up. His BABIP and his control's always been 45, but his BABIP I think has gone down, has it not? Yes, velo has gone down. I don't think the BABIP was always 45. But Funderburk's having a bad season here, so he's got an option. He could be a guy to go down here. He's absolutely somebody we could replace in the bullpen. So let's just take a look at like all relievers here. Devin Williams is still intriguing. Johnny Lasagna, no, he's wrecked. No, thank you. Joe Mantiply, bad season. Dylan Lee. Also, the Red Sox should be like top of their division. They're okay. Well, they're having a winning record, but they're not going to win the. Yeah, no, they're not. I'm not going to trade for Red Sox bullpen members. It's not happening. The Mets, though, we've talked about the Mets are bad. Jeff Hoffman on an expiring deal, having a down season. He has been good in this sim, though, both in Toronto and in New York. But this year, right? I shouldn't say down season. He's having a very good season, but not so much with the ERA plus this year. The FIP, though, still very good. He might be more acquirable than Devin Williams. Okay, we would still need to make the money work is the problem. That's the problem, is we're acquiring his money. But what if they retain? What if they retain like 35% of it, huh? They still need that. What if you retain 50% of it? Okay, now we got some more options. Balazovic. That seems kind of crazy. That seems kind of crazy. But he is an expiring reliever. Those guys don't have a ton of value, as we know. Jonathan Bender, we've been trying to trade him for multiple off seasons now. Same rating as Jonathan Bender. I think that we're going to do this. I think we're just going to do Balazovic for Jeff Hoffman straight up. Bendix is even just like, it's an okay deal. I think it's a good deal. So Jeff Hoffman's going to come over here, be a part of our bullpen. Another cold weather Northeast man coming to join our team for Jordan Balazovic. Boom. Boom, boom, boom. Fantastic stuff. Now we need to make it another room on the 40-man here, but we do need to send down Funderburk to AAA. Griffin Conine could be an option at DFA. He has one more option year. He's kind of fallen out of order. Yeah, we're going to DFA Griffin Conine. Griffin Conine's going to get DFA. Jeff Hoffman's going to come onto the roster. High leverage. Boom. Double barrel setup. The rest of these guys are middle relief. Maybe drop him out of... maybe drop him out of avoid high leverage. And now that's what our bullpen is going to look like down the stretch here. And then we also changed Garrett to be the opener because Funderburk was kind of struggling, as we've seen. And then our lineups, we've talked about, it's the same against both. Ian Happ's going to learn first base in the fly. Hopefully the bat's going to get back to where it was. I don't expect a 151 WRC plus down the stretch for us, but a triple digit, that'd be fantastic. So Ian Happ's going to come in here, hopefully propel some of our offense here. Mauricio's starting to figure stuff out again. Maybe Laurer will start going off. Maybe Tucker will finally click. Brooks Lee's on fire right now. Maybe Luis Robert will click. And we'll go into the postseason with this elite pitching. And it has struck again, folks. The Jersey-born curse of trading for a pitcher. The monkey paw has curled. Jeff Hoffman, damaged elbow ligament. He will be out for 11 months. He has thrown his last pitch as a member of the Florida Marlins. Now, how did it go? As a member of the Florida Marlins, in 9 innings in 12 games. Very, very well. He was fantastic for us. Unfortunately, he will not be a part of this playoff run for us because he just... elbow went kaplooey. Elbow is now pulled pork. And honestly, when it comes to players that we are thinking of calling up right now, it's coming down to Jack Perkins, who is on the 40-man, and we could call up and be a part of our bullpen. He actually is 40 out of the still 45 potential. His stuff does tick up to 50. So I think he would be a fine bullpen member. He's already on the 40-man. He hasn't ever pitched in the big leagues. We could give him a shot up there the rest of the season. Or we could go with William Kempner, who has the best K- walk of our AAA staff. He is a guy who kind of just came out of nowhere for me. He's been on this team since the start. They got him, drafted by the Giants in 2022, third round. They got him for future considerations and international bonus pool money in 2025, right before the offseason before I started this. And 2027 was in the Southern League All-Star game. 26 years old. Now we've got him up in AAA. And you can see here, he's just been really good wherever he is. And he might be rewarded with a chance here. Now, the thing is, we only have one 40-man spot open. And we do have to figure out what to do with Connor Norby when he comes back from his injury, which he does not even have anymore. So in 10 days, we'll have to either DFA somebody if we go with Kempner, or DFA Norby even, perhaps, because it's not like he's been hitting in AAA. Doesn't really have trade value anymore. Only has one more option here. Does not have a positional home. I'm just curious. It's past the trade deadline. We can't do that. But yeah, we'll have to figure out what to do with him if we go with Kempner. So I think that the smartest option would just be to go with Jack Perkins, or we go with Sam Bachman, who, still has the 50 potential, but you can see here this season just has not been good since coming back from his torn triceps that he had in the very beginning of the season. Just has not been good. So I don't think we want to reward that. So Perkins is probably a smart play here. So we're going to go with Perkins. Call him up. He's a leader. Jack Perkins, his first ever taste of the big leagues. Man, AJ Russell, things have just not gone well for this guy. It's September 1st. We're about to do the roster expansion here for 2 extra players. And AJ Russell just went down with a radial nerve decompression surgery. He's out for 8 to 9 months. He was our first-round supplemental pick in the first draft that we did. We took Summerhill, and then we took this guy after. Just thought he was the best pitcher available at that point, and he still looked like he could have possibly done something. He wasn't really that great for us the past 2 seasons at AA, but, his K- walk went up this year. I was like, holding out hope that he could possibly be somebody. Because when we first got him, remember, he tore his UCL. Or no, he didn't. This wasn't when we first got him. I think he had torn his UCL in real life or something. So yeah, this is like March right before. Yeah, so 2025 is when he started. He had already torn his UCL. And now, not getting another elbow surgery, it's not great. You're 23. He's probably still going to be in the organization here coming out of this injury, but things are not looking up for AJ Russell as our pitching development luck continues, as I just have the worst luck with that. Is it an actual thing in baseball that pitchers are just so volatile and they're very, very, things unlucky happen to all these guys all the time because, one injury, boom, you're just gone your whole career? Yes. Am I choosing to say that it's specifically happening to me because of some curse or vendetta or something? Also, yes. Alrighty, folks. The end of the 2027 season is here, and as you can see, your Florida Marlins are back-to-back NL East Division champions, taking out the Philadelphia Phillies by 5 games. I mean, what can you say? This Marlins team, crazy year. Start off terribly. We'll get into that. Let's first take a look at how this season ended here in September. Big time series win against the Philadelphia Phillies here. All huge games. We didn't score many runs this year, but the pitching just got it done. We come into this, and it's like a 1-game lead or something on the Phillies, and we just sweep them. 3-2 in extras. Not a lot of hits, but timely. Brooks Lee gets a double. Funderburk was an opener for this game. Warren goes 6 as a follower. Meyer goes 2. Nardi closes the door. We get the 3-2 win. Then 4-2 in the next game. You had Ian Happ doubled. Mauricio doubled. Brooks Lee had 2 doubles. A home run for Agustin. Christian Scott came in, did 4 2/3, gave up 2 runs. Kempner, who we called up, got 2 scoreless. Hudson, 2 scoreless. Nardi gets an inning and or it's a third for the save. We win that game, and then you get the sweep locked up in another 10-inning game, 2-1, another close one. Brooks Lee with another double, folks. He's a doubles machine. Brooks Lee out here leading things off, doing that. Michael King goes 5 2/3, only gives up one. Bender, Meyer, Peguero, and Hudson combined for a scoreless bullpen effort, and the Fish sweep the Phillies. I believe that was when we clinched playoffs. And just overall, very solid team. Let's take a look at this year's record. So we start things off in April, kind of meh. May, not so great, not so hot. We're like, what the hell's going on? And then June, ramp it up, 21-16, 18-6. Bad month of August, but then back in September, doing hot. Heading into the playoffs, you can see the offense, once again, just not a great offense. We did not get on base. We did not get a ton of hits this year. 8th in runs scored is not the worst, not the best, very middle of the road. I think it's more towards the bottom, but not a great number there. We didn't strike out a lot. That best team at not striking out. We got that going for us. Good base running team as well. But the offense definitely lackluster, and that is what cost us heading into the playoffs last season. So we'll see if that rears its ugly head again, but it was good enough to win us the National League East for a second straight season with another 90-plus win year. 94 this season, 96 last year. And then the pitching is really where it is made here in Miami. The best overall ERA, the second best starter ERA, the best bullpen ERA, the least amount of runs allowed, sub 600 runs allowed over the course of a full season. The 4th best WAR, 1st in hits allowed, opponent's average, BABIP, 4th in home runs allowed, 7th in walks. We've talked about this. I give up walks. It just happens. Strikeouts, 9th. That's kind of weird. Usually we strike people out a lot, but we're doing without strikeouts here in Miami. And then the best goddamn defense in the National League, doing its thing, backing our great pitching staff. They go hand in hand. It's just what we like to do. It's just what I like to do. I like to do the pitching and the defense. Everything else comes after that. Imagine how good this team would be if we had offense. Just imagine. First of all, take a look at this pitching staff here on this team. Sort by innings pitched. Michael King leads the team once again at innings pitched, 196 2/3, puts up a 2-WAR season. He was struggling for a bit this year. We take a look at his splits. You can see April, May, June, he's just kind of treading water, had a bad May, but then July, August, and September, he's right back to like Cy Young Michael King here down the stretch in August and September. Cy Young Michael King. He should have won the Cy Young. Shohei Ohtani, you're a cheat code. Get the hell out of it. There should be a Shohei rule where he gets like, we acknowledge that you're this generational player, but come on. Leave some fun for the rest of us. But anyways, Sean Manaea puts up a 3-WAR season. Very solid once again for him. He's also an expiring free agent, so he puts together these 2 really good seasons for us, and now he's going to go hit the free agent market at 36 years old. Maybe we bring him back if he's cheap. We'll have to see, but we tip our hat to him for 2 very good seasons in Miami. Christian Scott puts together a serviceable year. Ryan Weathers was solid once again with a 2-WAR. Max Meyer was doing his thing where he gets a shit ton of innings in the bullpen. Wasn't the greatest FIP, but he had a 3 ERA, made the All-Star team. Will Warren, as a follower, put together a very solid campaign for us. Look at his splits. As a regular starter, wasn't so hot. As a reliever/follower, quite solid. So Will Warren comes in as a waiver claim for us at the start of the season, and ends up being a very vital member of this team this year. He gave us a ton of innings, 140 innings. No slouch there. So Braxton Garrett also, not a great year for him. Good ERA, but the FIP was not the greatest. He was in the bullpen for us this year. Did get a couple starts here because we did have some injuries at one point. If we look at his splits, August, September, we had a couple injuries, so Braxton Garrett did get some rotation time, but for the most part, those are all bullpen innings because Manaea, you can see here, he actually missed 2 starts because he had a sore elbow, which he was out for 2 weeks. He missed a couple starts, and then it was also Weathers missed a couple starts. We'll look at his injuries history. He had a strained hamstring. He missed a couple starts. He only got 30. So Ryan Weathers and Manaea were both missing for a bit, and that's why Garrett and some other guys had to get some starts. Even Jack Perkins got some starts, which we will get into here. You can see he got 2 of them. And if you look at them, he was damn good. Or that's actually overall. He was solid, held his own. Very good FIP, league average ERA. What can you ask for from a guy in 2 spot starts? He was good. But you can see, overall, he came up to the big leagues, and in September and October, got 16 2/3 in September, was good, was lights out in his 2 innings in October. Jack Perkins, looking like a dude from Kokomo, Indiana, going to the Indiana University there. And rest of the team, Yuri Perez, another weird year for him where he's just, you look at his ratings and you're like, this guy should be either a starter who doesn't give you deep in the ball games, or he's a super stopper. And he's really neither. His home run rate did go down from where it was at the start of at the first check-in, like halfway through the year, I believe. But the rest of that, his walk rate goes up, his strikeout rate goes down significantly, both of these. His K- walk is just way worse as a result. And it just he wasn't good this year. For whatever reason, he was just kind of just not a great pitcher. He's just kind of just hanging around as another dude in the pen. Brian Hudson was really good. Andrew Nardi was really good as well, despite his movement going down. And Anthony Bender, he was really good. Peguera was really good. Perkins, we talked about, was good in his limited time. We even called up a William Kempner guy, and he even gave us 11 1/3 solid innings coming out of the bullpen for us, as this guy just came out of nowhere for us in our organization. From San Jose, went to Gonzaga. You got Josh Eknes came up as well. He gave us 7 2/3 of just lights out pitching. I mean, just we got contributions from so many different guys. I love how our system is set up right now here in Miami. The pitching and the defense, as we know, is not the problem. This is just very impressive, like, team pitching. 1 through 5, very solid in the rotation. The whole bullpen, solid. There's no weak link. You know, like, the weakest link you have is like a guy like Yuri Perez, who's, you know, calling this guy a weak link is just silly, because he's not. And then on the offensive side of things, you've got the 6-WAR season from Brooks Lee coming off his big extension in the offseason. Remember, we extended him through the 2034 season on a very team-friendly deal. He had not broken out yet. Remember, his first year with us when we got him at the deadline was good defensively, did nothing offensively. Then his next season started off very poorly, but then down the stretch, he was starting to hit more. So I was like, maybe Brooks Lee's prime for a breakout here. And then bang, 6-WAR season, 128 WRC+, 356 WOBA, 44 two-baggers, 20 home runs, 100 runs scored. His walk rate ticks up. His strikeout rate goes up a little bit, but nothing too bad. It's still 15. That's fantastic. 20 swipe bags as well. He's a 2020 season guy. And he puts together an 11 ZR at second base. Again, he had a 11 if you round up, 12 if you round up this year. So Brooks Lee, fantastic player. He's the cornerstone of our team, along with Agustin Ramirez, who unfortunately did not hit a ton of stuff after the All-Star game when we checked in with him. But still, 4-WAR season, 120 WRC+, 27 doubles, 25 home runs. Only 13 swipe bags for him this year. I think that's down over the past couple of years. Yeah, he had 20 the past couple of seasons, but still at a very efficient rate. Hits a bunch of doubles and home runs. He was our best bat. I mean, him and Lee are both comparable bats now. So those are our 2 best hitters by far. Luis Robert puts together a 3-WAR season. He ended up doing pretty solid for us. 96 WRC+, 28 doubles, 23 home runs, 70 runs driven in. He's a 2020 guy as well with the home runs and stolen bases. Puts together a 6 ZR in left field. And if we look at his splits, you can see as the season went on, he did get better. So April, May, June, not so hot, but then July, August, September, October, triple-digit WRC pluses. Now he's looking like, it's kind of like almost like a trade deadline acquisition here. We opted not to trade him at the deadline, and now he ended up being a solid hitter for us down the stretch. So Luis Robert, that's good to see. our third best WAR on the season. Kyle Tucker, though, I don't know, man. This guy is just, he had those two, like, just kind of whatever seasons, 2 WAR, or with Chicago, and then he had a 2 WAR for us, similar year, a little bit less doubles, same amount of home runs. He got hurt for us a bit as well. But it was like fine, it was whatever. And then this year, just not great. Bad offensive season. He had more doubles, but he also played more. Same amount of home runs, but he also played more. His walk rate went down. His strikeout rate went up. Nothing too crazy, but still. And overall, it just wasn't great. His average went down. His OBP was down significantly. He did not slug like at all this year. But he did play really good right field. You can give him that. At least that's not slumping for him. But the offense, it needs to pick up here. You can see in the lineup, we actually dropped him down into the 5th hole. We swapped him and Ian Happ because it was Tucker here and Happ here, and we swapped those guys because Tucker was just that lackluster offensively for us, which is just not ideal, especially since, he's got the biggest contract on the team, $34 million this season, then it drops down to 30, 28, and 26. I front-loaded it for a reason, but still, making a pretty penny here in Miami for the next 3 upcoming seasons. Hopefully he can be a bit better offensively next year. Starlin Caba, whatever offensively. We don't really care what he does offensively. He comes in, puts together a 6 ZR at shortstop in his 90 games he got after replacing Acosta, who's down in AAA. Derek Hill, unfortunately, the resurgence of Derek Hill has come to an end. He put up a 4 WAR season that first year, 3 WAR next season. This year only a 1.6, just a terrible offensive season for him. But overall, very good defensively. 15 ZR, round up at 16, 15.6. Now, we could possibly get crazy when we get to the postseason here and go, hey, Mr. Dylan Head, you're already on the 40-man roster. You expect to play in the major leagues. You've got 70 range. You're probably going to win the MVP in AA. He played right field, apparently, in AA for us, and I believe Summerhill played center, yes, who put up a 5 WAR as well, and he put up a 20 ZR in center field. So, Dylan Head's already on the 40-man. I don't believe Summerhill is. He is not. So, Dylan Head, he's been on the 40-man the whole season. He is postseason eligible. We could get crazy and go, hey, Dylan Head, you're a center fielder in the postseason, making your debut. That is a possibility. We could possibly do that. Maybe I do it. Maybe I don't. We'll have to see. But it is an option that's on the table. Wilfredo Lara didn't have the greatest season, but we still love him as a prospect. It's up to 60 potential now. You could see, you look at this profile and you're like, this guy is going to hit at some point. We're hoping he has like a Brooks Lee type resurgence. He comes in here his first full season. He's like, whatever. 92 WRC plus. He's starting to figure out the major leagues. He's getting it. He's getting the time. You look at his splits here. It wasn't like there was like a linear progression, or this is all together. So major leagues, it wasn't like there was like a linear progression. He just, April was good. May was not. June, he went down because he was struggling. July, he came back up and was good. August was not good. September was whatever. And then October, and whatever sample size, he was really good. So, but this bat, you look at the bat, you go, you got to believe in it. So Wilfredo Lara, he's going to be our third baseman, obviously. Drew Gilbert was a solid bench player for us, 200 plate appearances, triple-digit WRC plus. What more can you ask for from a bench player? Leover Peguero, we picked up off the waiver wire. He was actually solid for us coming off the bench, barely played, but for the most part of the season, he had a triple-digit WRC plus, and solid bench player. What else can you say? Davison De Los Santos, bench bat for us down the stretch, 15 doubles, 18 home runs, add some pop to the bench. Love to see that. Ian Happ did get off to a hot start with us when we traded for him, but ended up just being kind of just another meh bat like he was in Chicago. Similar numbers to us to Chicago that he put up, way more doubles there, but basically the same home runs and RBI and less plate appearances. So I would say overall a little bit better of the bat. It is kind of weird that his BABIP went down with how big our outfield is, but overall, hopefully the bat can pop off in the playoffs here because he is on paper a very good bat, and we need that heading into the playoffs. We take a look at his splits at the major league level. In July, we traded for him, and he immediately was very good. August was very good, and then he struggled in September, and then the very small October. So that's why his WRC plus was not triple digits, because he struggled in September down the stretch. But hopefully, he got that out of the way. I mean, look how drastic the walk rate is. It drops down to 5%. It's obvious why it went down so poorly. You get that walk rate back up, you drop the strikeout rate, boom, you're back in business here in Florida. Hopefully that happens in the playoffs. Joe Mack, we called back up. We sent down Palma, whatever his name was, just because Palma was doing nothing. And it's backup catcher, whatever. Joe Mack had a bad season. And then Ronnie Mauricio, it was not great. He started the year with a 0 WRC plus through April and May. We called him back up in July after spending June in AAA, and he was just immediately like, hey, man, I'm back. 141, 105, I'm back. And then boom, September, he goes back to being this shit Ronnie Mauricio. So now we got a decision to make. What's he going to do in the playoffs? So he's going to have a very short leash after putting up a 2-WAR season. But you got to believe that bat is somewhere in there still. 30 home runs, 30 doubles last year. You got to believe that is somewhere in there. They don't believe in you, Ronnie. Show it to me. Oh, and then before we take a look at the statistics from around the leagues, I do just want to show the expanded standings here. The standings, you can see the league leaders, Brooks Lee. Over there, a couple things. And then the expanded standings just around the league. The Baltimore Orioles, with a big run differential, win the American League East. The Red Sox, Yankees also get playoff spots. Tigers win the AL Central with 93 wins. The Rangers with 87 win the West, as the rest of the division is just stinky poo-poo. We win the East, obviously, with a plus 106 run differential, 7-3 in our last 10 heading into the playoffs. We actually outperformed our Pythagorean this season by 1 game. The Central was the Milwaukee Brewers with 95 wins. The Cubs and the rest of the bunch do not make the playoffs. The D-backs win the division in the National League West, somehow with 84 wins, as the Dodgers have a down season at 83 wins, but still make the playoffs. And the Rockies, who were projected to be scrappy, were not. What were the Dodgers doing this year? Were they just hurt a ton or something? Dustin May got hurt. Roki Sasaki got hurt. That'll do it. Blake Snell got hurt. Kenley Jansen got hurt. Chris Martin got hurt. Pitching staff. Yeah, it was Shohei, Yamamoto, and Bradley Rodriguez, who they got from San Diego in a trade, and they called straight up from high A, and he was good for them. But like Michael Soroka, I know, was an all-star for them in the bullpen this season, somehow. But yeah, overall, not a good pitching season for them. And then on offense, Shohei did his thing. Ryan Ritter was their shortstop. Will Smith, I mean, yeah, not a great year from the Dodgers. Very mediocre team. Mookie Betts looks like he's falling off. Negative WAR for him. Yeah, they got Verdugo on this team now. Trent Grisham's here again. He's not good. Tommy Edman put up a whatever season. Freeland was not good. He was like their best player last year, or like one of their best players. So yeah, overall not a good year for the Dodgers. So not the big bad Dodgers anymore. And now taking a look at the statistics around the league. The best batting average in Major League Baseball belonged to Colt Keith of the Detroit Tigers. Zach Neto behind him. Look at Vinny Pasquantino hitting 300 up here as well. Aaron Judge leads the league in home runs with 47. You got Gunnar Henderson and Lazaro Montes of the Detroit Tigers here, putting together back-to-back really good seasons for the Tigers. At 22 years old this year, puts up 42 home runs, scores 100 runs. Fantastic stuff from the right fielder. You also got Gunnar leading the league in RBI. You got Carson Williams here with the Tampa Bay Rays in second. OBP was Colt Keith. Slugging was Ohtani. Colt Keith was second. OPS was Ohtani and Colt Keith. So Colt Keith's probably going to win an MVP in the American League if I had to guess, with a 7-WAR season, 185 WRC plus. That's pretty insane. Batter WAR, Henderson, Keith. I mean, Henderson could do it because he had the 8-WAR. So it's going to come down to Gunnar Henderson and Colt Keith as who they give the award to. Was he good defensively? He was. Last year he was bad defensively at shortstop. This year, good somehow. And Yeah, hits. We got Brooks Lee, baby, top 5 in overall hits in Major League Baseball. Jackson Churio tied with Montez for the league lead in runs. Most doubles in baseball. 3 guys tied at 44. Brooks Lee, Bobby Witt Jr., and Jacob Wilson, the man who never walks and never strikes out. Crazy mix there. Bunch of different players. You got superstar Bobby Witt, who's probably, in real life, you're picking a guy to start a franchise with. This is probably pick 1. And then Jacob Wilson, who's the guy who never strikes out, never walks. And then you got Brooks Lee, who's the center of the Florida Marlins, the Teal Marlins. And then you got Wyatt Langford and Roman Anthony peppering the monster. Probably going opposite way a decent bit. He has a pole hitter, so maybe he's just hitting doubles down the right field line. Who knows? But yeah, those are the doubles leaders. You take a look at the stolen base leaders. Fernando Tatis Jr. with Enrique Bradfield Jr. and Pete Crow Armstrong in the top 3. Why is Nolan Shawnewell stealing that much? Who knows? Juan Soto once again leading in the base on balls counted. The counting number, like he always does. And then win probability added, top 5, Brooks Lee. Love to see it. OPS plus, Colt Keith, Ohtani, Zach Neto, Gunnar Henderson. Take a look at the pitching leaders throughout the league. Ranger Suarez of the Baltimore Orioles leads the league in ERA. Yeah, back-to-back seasons in Baltimore. He was like whatever last year, solidly average pitcher. And then this year, really, really good year for Baltimore as they win the division. Behind him was Sasaki, who is now hurt. And then Walker Buehler with the White Sox. Wow. Walker Buehler at 33 all of a sudden just figuring things out again. I guess now he's gotten used to this soft tossing thing that he's got going and puts together a crazy season. 3-4 WAR if you round up, top 5 in ERA, top 3 in ERA, sub 3 ERA. That's crazy. Also, Grayson Rodriguez in Baltimore was 4th. Andrew Painter leads the league in wins, along with Zach Wheeler and Trey Savage, who is up with the Toronto Blue. I saw a graphic, I think it was yesterday, showing all his pitches and his arm angle and where all his pitches end up. They're all glove side. Everything is glove side. He has nothing running, or not glove side. Everything is arm side. He has nothing running glove side, and everything's just going arm side, and it's all the same quadrant. It's crazy. Aaron Bummer leads the league in the National League with saves with 44, and then Edwin Uceda is 44 in the American League with the New York Yankees, who they picked up in a trade from the Tampa Bay Rays. You're really just never going to see any of our players here because I always have a stopper and never like a traditional closer. And then pitcher WAR, Tarek Skubal in Seattle. When did this happen? They traded for him after winning the World Series, and then they've been bad ever since? That's crazy. That is such a Mariners thing. Such a Mariners thing. Why would you trade for a pitcher? You win the World Series in 2025. Tarek Skubal, I believe, won the Cy Young that season. He did. 2025 Cy Young with the Detroit Tigers. And then the Mariners trade for him. This is why, I see. DePoto was like, my God, he pitched a no-hitter against us. We got to get him. We got to get this guy. And then they trade for him in the offseason. That's how they got Montez. Oh, no. It was just 1-for-1 Montez. Oh, no. Well, I mean, they're both very good for each other. But the Mariners are just bad. And the Mariners just they probably just have too much pitching now. And not enough hitting. I don't know. But I feel like the Mariners could have just had Montez and just been a better team, but who knows. Skubal, best pitcher in the American League, despite the Mariners being a 76-86 team. That is brutal. What was their team stats? I guess their pitching wasn't good. So they're just collapsing altogether. Who knows why? Who knows why? But yeah, Tarek Skubal now in Seattle apparently because Lazaro Montes is raking with Detroit. And you got Painter, Wheeler, Nestor Cortez, top 5 in WAR, with Roki Sasaki there as well. Wheeler, Webb, Burns, Cortez again, and Logan Gilbert in innings pitched. it's crazy to me that the Mariners can't pitch well. They got Logan Gilbert, they got Tarek Skubal. I mean, it's nuts. But anyways, strikeouts, Tarek Skubal, Wheeler, Arrighetti with Tampa Bay, who they claimed off waivers from Houston. That is crazy. Okay. And then you start seeing some of our names down here. Michael King, third and lowest BABIP. He's top 5 in opponents' average. Second in win percentage was Sean Manaea. Second in shutdowns was Max Meyer, just behind Uceda, who led the American League in saves. And then on the fielding side of things, you got Agustin Ramirez, folks. Third in caught stealing percentage. He's throwing out those runners. And then he's second in catcher ERA. Not top 5 in framing runs. We don't ever expect him to be top 5 in framing runs, but caught stealing and catcher's ERA, absolutely love to see that. Tovar leads in zone rating with Colorado. You got Pete Armstrong, Bradfield, Varsho, and Brenton Doyle behind them. A 10 range from Will Smith. I mean, just a crazy. I'm curious, what was Ramirez's... Okay, so he was a negative framer this year. I believe last year he was last year he had a 4 framing. This year it was more offensive for him, but still another 4-WAR season. I mean, we're not going to complain, especially since he's putting together good caught stealing numbers and good catcher's ERAs. Who really cares if he's framing well if we're still pitching like that? So you can't complain too much. So those are the statistics around the league. Take a look at the postseason. Us and the Milwaukee Brewers have byes in the division series, and then the Orioles and the Tigers have byes on the American League side of things, while the wildcard teams are the Dodgers, Phillies, Giants, D-backs, Guardians, Red Sox, Yankees, Rangers. So we shall see who we're playing in the DS next time.